We are ready to stretch our minds a bit. We're here to talk about strategy shifts in literacy instruction, which I'm sure you've heard about, using the language arts, Florida standards, which are the Common Core base standards, of course, and the habits of mind. So I'd like to just introduce our team. I'm Joyce Fine.
I'm Hellen Robbins. I'm Tsalikis. I'm Lynn, Yribarren.
Okay, so we are here to work with you.
Okay. So we have quite an agenda for this morning for you. To go point by point quickly, we're going to unpack the labs. We are going to determine how the labs may be effectively taught with the habits of mind, because they can be. To share a graphic organizer, which you will see and engage with, for writing arguments with evidence and support, which is completely correlated with what's going on with the current changes with Common Core and labs. To share a graphic organizer for writing opinions based on multiple texts, and to process the connections between labs and habits of mind using a matrix.
So how many of you have had the chance to look at these standards? Have you had the chance to see how you're going to be teaching these? What grades do you teach? What grade? How many are kindergarten? Okay, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, so we have somebody here from each grade level, so that's really good because you can take this information back also. All right. You need to understand how to do this also because there will be writing in every area. Writing in every area. Florida standards are relevant to the real world and reflect the academic knowledge and skills our students need to be successful in college and career. Well, we've heard that a lot. And then to look at the habits of mind, which you are all very familiar with, I know, we can say the same thing. They're relevant to the real world and reflect the knowledge, skills, and our students need to be successful in college, careers, and life. The habits of mind really give them more than these standards because they have to know how to conduct themselves intelligently in all areas. So this is much more important. Best ways to see how these two concepts can be integrated is to experience activities as learners. So today we're going to provide some materials so you can experience some of these things and really use them when you go back to your classrooms. After we use them, we're going to do some processing using a retrospective read aloud. So you all are familiar with read alouds. So a retrospective read aloud is going to look at your thinking.
Okay, so one of the things that we'll be giving you is a very nice matrix. And the matrix will help to guide your thinking. As Dr. Fine said, that the best way for you to teach this is to learn it, to be a learner. So you're going to learn how to read two different texts, and then while you're reading and while you're looking at it, you're going to be doing retrospective thinking aloud. Think aloud. So the strategy is writing arguments with evidence and support. So that's the first one you're going to be looking at and working on. So you'll be discussing and thinking aloud how to use this. And how do you use this strategy? When do you use it? And your thinking. When will you be using this? Why are you using it? And then you'll connect all of that thinking to the habits of mind. Making a list of what habits of mind could you use throughout the processing.
Which thinking strategies, which is what our habits mind, and it's what we want you to
Teach your students.
So
You are in the shoes of your student. You are going to be the learners, just like your students are the learners. the evidence that supports that idea of commonality. So before we were doing what's in this one, what's different in this one, and then the common idea. So the big shift is they're telling you what's common. Now, think what gave you that idea. And you must then write a paragraph supporting that common idea. And that takes very careful thinking and processing in order to understand it. So together, please write evidence about how bottlenose dolphins, somebody tell me, find it in the passage. And paraphrase it. Why? How do bottlenose dolphins help man?
Thinking about what kind of thinking did you have to do to not only use the tool, the teaching tool, but to get this question answered. There's so much that went into it, right? So we're trying to break it down a little bit.
Okay, habits of mind. What habits of mind do you use? Number one, persistence. Right, absolutely. Do not give up. What else did you use? Gathering data. Striving for accuracy. What did you say? Thinking and communicating with clarity. Okay, to apply past knowledge to new situations.
Questioning and problem solving.
Collaborating.
Knowledge, you know, habits of mind. We have all these habits of mind, and we access them as needed, and we apply them as needed. And in the room that I was standing by, there was a little bit of discussion about background knowledge, and it may not be appropriate to use background knowledge or access, because all the evidence is coming out of the text. You know, not the child's background understanding of whatever the topics are.
Right, so if they go fishing with their father and they catch something else, they can't put in about that. Anyway, always, whether you're in the classroom, incorporate your habits of mind and ask them why they want to do a certain game in PE.
Excellent.
Over another game. Because I get to run and I like running. Okay? When I do the other game, I don't get a chance to run. Okay? So what we hope you have seen is some very valuable graphic organizers in thinking that needs to be done, incorporating the habits of mind, because they need to be thinking of all these aspects when you're teaching them to reach these higher levels. So we appreciate your time. If you have questions too.
But I did want to add one very, very quick piece about these matrices. One of the things that I think for your students, we're trying to do this very quickly at an adult level, but we understand that you do have kindergarten through 5th grade in all different areas. And one of the things that I think will, to remind you to incorporate not only these teaching tools and the habits of mind, is that make the steps so much smaller. You know, we're trying to make the steps big to let you practice this, but there is background knowledge when you're reading and making an inference and evaluation. But where is the place for it? Make it evident to your student is what I want to say. Make it more explicit is what that's why we like these matrices, is because you can take the littlest piece and investigate it and say, okay, just to be able to paraphrase that evidence, what did you have to do? So go back to very, very the beginning. I know we're trying to get you to the end and try to see the big picture, and you've seen some of the pieces, but that's why I think you have very good questions, because you're realizing that this is a big task that takes a lot of smaller steps to get there. So that's the way I think from my perspective, the way I was seeing this, is it's a way for maybe you to unpack and start breaking these apart to see the little pieces and what you might have to do, and the kind of thinking that you have to do. And
So always thinking about emphasizing the habits of mind that they need to bring forward in order to do this. Tell them, you've been studying habits of mind. We can do this. We can think of these high levels.
More than ever, actually, because there's a lot of shifting. So now more than ever, your habits of mind are important to help you through the shifts and help you help your children through the shifts.
Are there any questions or comments? Well, I didn't put the email address on there for all of us, but if you put our name with a dot in the middle at FIU.edu, you can email us with any questions, and we'll be happy to address what your concerns are.
And Vicki and Dr. Johnson, your principal, we have a great relationship. You know, let them know, and they can contact